Welcome back, YouTube. So here to provide another update with what's going on here with the tariffs and price action going on in the macro events that are ultimately controlling the vast amount of the markets here. Like we talked about, the until we have an alignment between investor sentiment and the macros, we're going to be in this limbo phase, right? If you haven't watched the last video or it's been a minute, you want to remember that the market likes certainty. It doesn't like uncertainty. It doesn't like to wonder what's going to be happening here 6 months from now, a year from now. Are the tariffs going to be there? What's the effect? How the other countries are going to respond? A lot of those big decisions are going to have to be made before we have a direct movement in the market, or one with certainty, especially anything positive, right? Uncertainty is automatically a move to the downside, to the negative, because ultimately it's better to keep the money you have than to risk it, especially with uncertainty, and potentially lose it. You typically want to have a pretty strong bet that things are going to go to the upside before you typically invest money. And this is why you're seeing kind of like the stagnation here with Doge. Take a look here at the price action. For the most part, this is where looks like we're holding the line at here around like the 16 cents. We got to dip down to around the 14 on daily, but ultimately we closed a little bit higher than that into the 15. But you can see this is pretty much we're pretty much trending right along that 14 where we've been here for the last couple of weeks, and ultimately we are reading for that investor sentiment. So we have the 72 crossing the 100 back here, but again, when we see like these lower levels here, we'll see that this was before we had those big moves up back in November, early November of last year. You'll see that this was a point of resistance here where we were trending up. We had about 4 or 5 green days back in late October, around the 29th and the 28th. And this was the first red candle we got before, or the projection, before we had that big run up. And right now, it's looking like this is going to be where our pool liquidity is going to be for this current trend, right? Unless we get some huge macro bad news or something, then we could potentially go lower. But the tone of the market has not changed. I know it's pretty boring right now, but those macros, those bigger deals are going to have to come through with that certainty before we start seeing a move to the upside. For those of you, especially if you're in any of my groups, you'll know that the stock market has been getting absolutely slaughtered. You're going to see that price action and uncertainty there. It's going to be like a vacuum. I think right now, since November, we've lost about 10 trillion out of the market, a few trillion this week alone, right? Especially as we get the news of tariffs, the response to tariffs, how these other countries are going to respond. You're going to see that vacuuming of the market here as fear kind of takes over, and we get into like the extreme fear category here. So ultimately, that's one of the things that we're going to see. You'll see that the relationship between crypto and the stock market are going to they're not necessarily linked, but you'll see similar price action. Obviously, stocks being the global metric, and multiple countries, multiple divisions having access to the stock market as we have these tariffs and countries decide to respond. I think China responded with like a 35% tariff. You're going to see this more effective in the stock market, right? Because you'll see businesses, hedge funds, all the kind of good things kind of pivot away from the certain assets, certain companies held by certain countries, right? Because if this does go into kind of like a tariff war, you'll see that those companies that are held, like the Chinese stocks or the American stocks, you're going to see investors and a lot of these bigger funds are going to kind of pivot away from them and say, okay, well, that's a little bit risky here. We don't know what that company is going to look like in 6 months from now, so let's move on to something safer, or let's grab some bonds, let's hold cash. And that's what Warren Buffett is doing. I think he's sitting on like $330 billion in cash. And it's going to only be one of those things here to say, okay, well, let's sit on the sidelines and wait until we have some evidence that this is going to resolve itself, or we've bottomed out, and then we'll re-enter the market. And I think that that's going to pretty much come down to patience, really. And whether that be stocks or coin count, whatever your favorite assets are, that's going to be the time where you're looking to accumulate here. So I know some people are extremely sad. Apple is down, Tesla, and other people, your Tesla bulls and your Apple bulls, it's the best day, it's the best time of their lives because they're thinking, a few years from now versus what's happening right now. So the tariffs, yes, they will resolve. The tariffs will go away. This is not a long-term solution here for anything. Typically, it's used as a negotiation tactic because if this does stay in play, obviously things will get more expensive, and we'll see that cost effect across the market in your wallets, and ultimately, yes, on the charts as well. So that's something that I believe will resolve itself here probably within the next month or so. So these prices that you're seeing here, you are, whether that's crypto or stocks, this isn't one I know typically the channel talks about in this videos about Dogecoin, but typically you're going to see this resolve itself relatively quickly over the short term here. So these prices that you're seeing here, don't, I would say, don't get like necessarily used to them or think, oh yeah, we're in a bear market or it's over, there were recession. Like when we go into a recession is if we stay, if kind of things kind of stay where we are now. Now, if this drags out, we will absolutely go into a recession. The economy will slow for sure. But typically, like I said, typically this is a short-term thing used for negotiation. But and to touch on Trump's point the other day, he was like, "Oh, the stock market's going to boom, it's going to run." Yeah. So if the things go as he has planned, which I think this is what he's shooting for, which is to use these for negotiations to get that, like the import taxes, the tariffs, and like I guess they use it for as a negotiation point and gets favorable deals. Then yes, especially from the prices that they're at now, from stocks, crypto, from where they are now, yes, there will be a huge boom to the upside, right? So that is absolutely true. There will be a big run to the upside, but ultimately you are looking at like the slowing or that pushing down of these overall prices. So long term, I still believe that it's best to, if you're looking at these assets, and certainly if you're a long-term investor, I still believe it's best to hold those positions and really take advantage of them, right? I don't believe that the like the stock market is or SPY or something like that is never going to see 600 again, or Doge is never going to see 20 cents plus again, like it's over, it's all going down. No, I don't believe that at all. I just believe that because of the macro news, these prices are being suppressed, and when that macro news resolves itself, you're going to see a spring. Like I said, the spring being suppressed, you're going to see that leap forward, and you're going to see that rush back into the market because people are going to try and time it. And then when everything's running back up so fast, you're going to see all this capital flood back into the market, and you'll see like that big push to the upside here. So ultimately, what I'm saying is don't necessarily try and time it. If you are bullish on an asset, whether that be Doge or Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, whatever, everything's down now for the most part. Make sure you're looking at those prices and taking advantage of the overall price actions here, and just anticipating that things are going to go back to the upside. The market is hardwired to go up over the long term. So that being said, this is my price update. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please like the video, share it with a friend, subscribe if you have not, and I will see you guys in the next video.